Wind possesses an extraordinary capacity to generate kinetic energy, producing approximately 35 times more electricity daily than humanity's current consumption. Unlike finite sources like coal or oil, wind energy is completely renewable on a daily basis. Harnessing this abundant energy involves the utilization of a straightforward principle. The process begins with a rotor equipped with sails or blades that capture the wind's kinetic energy, converting it into rotational energy. While traditional windmills historically used this rotational energy for tasks like grinding wheat or pumping water, contemporary wind turbines employ it to turn a generator that generates electricity. So this conversion process from wind to rotational energy to electricity has been a defining feature of wind turbines since their inception in the 19th century. Good day, we are the students from BSCE 3A and we will report about wind turbines. At its core, a wind turbine functions by capturing both the potential and kinetic energy present in the wind. The key components include a rotor equipped with blades that are strategically positioned to intercept the oncoming wind. So as the wind interacts with the blades, their rotation ensues and initiating conversion of wind energy into rotational energy. So the rotational energy generated by the spinning blades is then transferred to a shaft connected to a generator. This connection allows the rotational motion to be translated into electrical energy. The generator, a critical component of the wind turbine system, facilitates the conversion of mechanical energy into electricity through electromagnetic induction. To maximize the harnessing of wind energy, a considerable number of wind turbines are often grouped together in what is commonly known as a wind farm. This clustering enables the collective generation of significant amounts of electricity, contributing to the overall efficiency and output of the renewable energy system. Let's now move on to the wind turbine parts and functions. So first, there is the blade. The blade is the rotating part of the wind turbine driven by the force of the wind. It is linked to the low-speed shaft through the hub. This low-speed shaft connects to the gearbox, and the gearbox is further linked to the generator. As the blade turns, it initiates the rotation of the generator, producing electricity. Typically, most wind turbines have 3 blades, a design aimed at optimizing efficiency. So later on, we will discuss why the most preferred number of blades of a wind turbine is 3 blades. Blade design. So the design of wind turbine blades is crucial for maximizing power production while minimizing costs. Generally, larger and taller blades are required to generate substantial power. These blades are shaped to extract the maximum energy from the wind efficiently. Advances in design have led to the creation of more compact, quieter, and higher performing wind turbines that can generate more power even in less windy conditions. The length of these blades typically ranges around 50 meters. As of December 2023, the largest turbine currently in production is the GE Haliade X, and this massive 14 megawatts turbine has a blade length of 107 meters and a rotor diameter that's over 80% of the tower height. This ongoing trend of refining blade design showcases continuous efforts to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of wind turbines, contributing to a sustainable and economical harnessing of wind energy.
Airfoil is a cross-sectional shape of the blades that determines its aerodynamics. They are the keys to blade design. This airfoil design allows the blade tips of a wind turbine to move faster than the wind is moving, thus generating more power and higher efficiency. The design of wind turbine blades, including the careful selection of airfoil shape, is a complex process that involves balancing multiple factors to maximize efficiency and power output in various wind conditions. Advances in computational tools, material sciences, and aerodynamics have contributed to the development of more efficient and reliable wind turbine blades. Airfoil design. Thin airfoil family for medium blade. Thin region airfoil 95% radius. Primary outboard airfoil 75% radius. Root region airfoil 40% radius. Thick airfoil for large blades. Tip region airfoil 95% radius. Primary outboard airfoil 75% radius. Root region airfoil 40% radius. Blade aerodynamics. Wind turbine blade work by generating two aerodynamic forces, lift and drag. This is due to wind and their airfoils. Lift force. Lift force is perpendicular to the airflow and is in line with blade rotation. Drag force is in line with apparent wind direction, which is in opposition of the blade motion. Drag increases in proportion to the frontal area of an object facing the wind. The aerodynamics of wind turbine blade involve a delicate balance between lift and drag forces. Engineers work to design blades that efficiently capture wind energy by maximizing lift while minimizing drag, considering factors such as airfoil shape, angle of attack, and dynamic effects. Lift and drag formula. Lift force is equal to C sub L times density of a wind times velocity squared times area of a blade over 2. Drag force is equal to C sub D times density of a wind times velocity squared times reference area over 2. Another thing that the airfoil is able to bring is for the blade to attain difference in pressure on both sides. The most curved side, or we may say the convex side, generates low air pressure, while high pressure air pushes on the less curved side, or we may say the side with slightly concave part. This is actually the reason for the blade rotation. The airfoil shape of a wind turbine blade is designed to exploit the principles of aerodynamics to create a pressure difference between its two sides. This pressure difference generates lift, leading to the rotation of a blade, which is ultimately harnessed to produce electricity in the wind turbine system. Wind orientation. Blade wind orientation. Here's now the question. Based on the figure illustrating the optimum angle of attack, which part of the blade is the leading edge and trailing edge, front and back? The leading edge of a wind turbine blade is the front-facing edge that encounters the oncoming wind, initiating the airflow over the blade. This edge is crucial in shaping the aerodynamics of a blade. In contrast, the trailing edge is the rear-facing edge where the airflow comes together after passing over the blade. The terms leading and trailing refer to the sequence of airflow over the blade. Understanding this concept is fundamental to comprehending the angle of attack, a key factor influencing the performance of the wind turbine. The angle of attack is the angle between the chord line, an imaginary line connecting the leading and trailing edges, and the oncoming wind. Engineers carefully optimize this angle to strike a balance between generating lift which propel the blade, and minimizing drag, which could impede efficiency. A leading edge is the front-facing edge that encounters the wind, while the trailing edge is the rear-facing edge where the airflow concludes. These distinctions are pivotal in aerodynamic design of wind turbine blades, ensuring efficient energy capture and conversion for electricity generation. Blade rotation. Question: what will be the rotation of the blade? Is it pushed to the side that has more curve, or pushed to the side that has less curve? The rotation of the wind turbine blade is a fascinating dance of aerodynamics, and it's intricately connected to the symmetry created by the airfoil shape. In a standard configuration, the side of a blade that has more curvature, often known as the convex or upper side, is strategically positioned to the face of the oncoming wind. This deliberate choice leads to the wind exerting pressure against the convex side, creating an imbalance in pressure distribution along the blade. The higher pressure on the convex side sets in motion a cascade of aerodynamic effects. It initiates the generate uplift, a fundamental force in aerodynamics which pull the blade in a direction of rotation. This lift force, coupled with an angular momentum imparted by the wind, becomes the dynamic force propelling the rotation of the blade. Now, why does the wind push against the side with more curvature? The answer lies in the intricacies of fluid dynamics. As the wind encountered the airfoil shape of the blades, it naturally followed the curvature, creating a region of higher pressure on the convex side and lower pressure on the opposite side. The wind turbine blade rotates because the wind pushes against the side with more curvature. This clever utilization of aerodynamic principles allow wind turbine to efficiently capture and convert wind energy into rotational motion for electricity generation. This nuanced interplay of force showcases the elegance of wind turbine design, where asymmetry becomes a strategic advantage, the blade responding to the wind's push against the side with more curvature transforms kinetic energy into rotating motion, contributing to the generation of clean and sustainable electricity. It's a harmonious integration of engineering, aerodynamics, and environmental consciousness, highlighting the sophistication involved in harnessing the power of the wind for our energy needs. Wind orientation. The photo shows on the front side and back side as well as the leading edge and trailing edge of a blade.
Wind turbine parts and design. Blade design. In addition to its curved design, twisted and tapered blades further enhance its aerodynamics, with the combined effect of twisting and tapering the blade along its length improves the angle of attack, increasing speed, efficiency, and lift while reducing drag. So aside to its curved design, the blades are also twisted and tapered to further enhance its aerodynamics. Sabi ko nga kanina, lift causes the rotation, and drag acts as opposition to the rotation and should be reduced. So when designing, lift should be increased and drag should be reduced. Wind turbine number of blades. So we have a question here. What number of blades is the best design in consideration of all the factors in construction and operation of wind turbine? Of course, we already know the answer. The answer is 3 blades are the best. We've already know that the rear of the blade is curved more than the front. This varied shape causes a pressure differential when the air moves across the blade, which is what causes the blades to move. Because of the obstruction of the blade, air moves at a faster velocity behind the blade, than in front of it. This is what sets the rotation of the blades in motion. The movement of the wind is from high pressure to low pressure, and that will cause difference in pressure on both sides. And yung difference in pressure on both sides na yon will cause the blade to rotate. Again, yung most curved side generates low air pressure, and yung mas less curved side generates high air pressure. Engineers must consider speed and drag in designing the blades to ensure the highest level of efficiency. For example, if too much drag is created by the obstruction of the blades, the power yield will be a lot lower. If not enough drag is created, the blades could move too quickly, causing them to break the sound barrier. Sabi ko nga kanina, when designing, lift should be increased and drag should be reduced, but hindi dapat sobrang baba ng drag kasi kailangan pa rin natin yan to be balanced. Kasi if walang drag, mabilis na iikot yung blades and masisira naman yung sound barrier sa sobrang bilis ng ikot nito. Let us now move on to the rule of thumb. First, the fewer blades the better, since there will be less drag and an increase in efficiency. Second, the number of blade increases the torque and reduces the optimum rotation speed. And lastly, having fewer blades reduces drag. The first one and the last one are just the same. Kapag fewer yung blades, mas less yung drag, and that can increase the efficiency. But if the number of blades are increased, na sinasabi sa second rule of thumb, if the number of blades are increased, makaka-apekto naman ito sa torque, and of course, mas babagal or mare-reduce yung speed. Let's now move on to one blade. What if one blade, yung wind turbine? Because of the decreased drag, one blade would be optimum number when it comes to energy yield. However, one blade could cause the turbine to become unbalanced, and this is not a practical choice for the stability of the turbine. Bukod sa weird tignan yung isang blade, magkakos ito ng unbalance kaya hindi siya practical and malaki ang epekto nito sa stability ng turbine. Two-blade. At first glance, two-bladed turbines seem like the optimal configuration for a wind turbine. Perfectly balanced and with one blade less than a three-bladed turbine. They will generate less drag. So why aren't all turbines made with two blades? It is because it has troubles in yawing. Yaw is when its head or nozzle turns to face the wind due to an effect called gyroscopic precession. When a two-blade turbine yaw, it creates a wobble as the blades go from the vertical plane to the horizontal plane, which places additional stresses on the mounting bearings, wearing them down faster. So in yaw system and control, magkakaproblema if two blades. Because three blades can simplify the yaw control system, the yaw system is responsible for turning the turbine to face the wind. With three blades, the turbine is naturally balanced, making it easier to control and align with the wind direction compared to the two blades. What if more than three blades? Any number of blades greater than 3 would create greater wind resistance, slowing generation of electricity and thus becoming less efficient than a 3-blade turbine. Tulad nung nasa rule of thumb kanina, if the number of blades are increased, makaka-apekto naman ito sa torque and of course mas babagal or mare-reduce yung speed. More blades can result in more friction and drag, reducing overall efficiency. So, dito na tayo sa 3-blade. For these reasons, turbines designed with 3 blades are the ideal compromise between high energy yield and greater stability and durability of the turbine itself. 3 blades provide better balance and stability compared to fewer blades. This balance is crucial to prevent excessive vibrations, which could lead to structural issues and affect the overall performance of the turbine. three blades strike a balance between having enough blades to capture sufficient wind energy and not having so many, that they create excessive drag. More blades can result in more friction and drag, reducing overall efficiency. Three blades tend to offer a good compromise between the aerodynamic efficiency of the rotor and the structural requirements. The shape and angle of the blades are carefully designed to capture the maximum amount of wind energy while minimizing resistance. Wind turbine parts and functions. Blade tilting mechanism. According to the wind speed, the relative velocity angle of the wind also changes. A blade tilting mechanism is a sensor-coupled parts of the wind turbine, which tilts the blades and guarantees a proper alignment of the blades with the relative velocity, so that its position is always at the optimum angle of attack. So yung blade tilting mechanism in a wind turbine is a feature that allows the rotor blades na magbago or mag-change yung angle niya in response sa pabago-bagong wind conditions. This mechanism is designed to optimize the performance of the wind turbine and improve its overall efficiency. So yung blade tilting mechanism is different from yaw system or yawing, but they are connected to each other. So yung blade tilting mechanism is feature or katangian siya ng blades na kung saan kusa itong magtitilt para humarap yung blades mismo sa hangin at upang magbago ang angle of attack nito na naaayon sa hangin. Diba yung hangin pabago-bago? So need din magbago ng angle yung blades para ma-optimize yung angle of attack para mas mabilis ang ikot ng blades. Samantala, yung yaw system naman ay isang mechanism na automatic na magro-rotate yung pinaka-nozzle or yung parang housing sa isang wind turbine para yung blades ay nakaharap sa hangin at all times. So parang ganito yung mangyayari. Di ba pabago-bago yung wind, yung directions niya, yung lakas niya, pabago-bago. So para masustain yung efficiency ng pag-generate ng electricity, need dapat na consistent yung ikot ng blades. So generally dapat yung blades kayang sumabay sa changes na nangyayari. So ganito ang scenario. Halimbawa, nag-iba ng direction yung hangin. Ang unang mangyayari ay yawing or yung yaw system, na kung saan magro-rotate yung pinaka-nozzle na nakakonect dun yung blades, di ba, sa nozzle. So magro-rotate yung nozzle para yung blades nakaharap sa hangin. Then, ang gagawin ng blades naman is mag-a-adjust siya or mag-change siya ng position by tilting para makuha ang tamang angle of attack at tinatawag naman itong blade tilting mechanism. So magkaiba sila pero connected sila sa isa't.
Nozzle. Nozzle is a cover housing that houses all of the generating components in a wind turbine, including the generator, gearbox, and the brake assembly. The nozzle in a wind turbine also protects the vital parts of the turbine from the environment, enables the turbine to face the wind, and facilitates the conversion of the wind energy into electricity. Yung nozzle, siya yung parang shield sa mga vital parts ng turbine para protektahan yun, para hindi rin siguro pagka humangin merong mga parts na hindi mawala or maalis. Kaya naman pagka umulan, hindi yun mapuno ng tubig. At yung nozzle, siya din yung paraan para iharap yung blade sa hangin. Hindi nakafix yung nozzle, so umiikot siya para iharap sa direction ng hangin yung blade para umikot yung blade. Gearbox. A gearbox in a wind turbine is a mechanical component that adjusts the rotational speed of the blades to optimize power generation. It transforms the slow high torque rotation of the blades into the faster rotation required by the generator, enhancing overall into converting wind energy into electricity. The common ratio of a gearbox is about 90:1, with a rate of 16.7 RPM input from the rotor to 1,500 RPM output for the generator. Yung 90:1, ibig sabihin lang yun yung sa isang ikot ng blade, 90 times na umikot na din yung gearbox. Tapos yung ibig sabihin naman ng RPM na to is yun yung revolution per minute. Yung gearbox, siya yung tumutulong sa blade para bumilis ang ikot nito, at siya rin yung tumutulong sa generator para ma-reach niya yung required na output na 1,500 RPM o para magkaroon ng great quality output. Dahil nga hindi sapat yung ikot ng blade para maka-produce ng great quality output, kaya mahalaga yung gearbox. Direct drive or gearless. In a direct drive or gearless wind turbine, there is no gearbox. Kaya nga siya tinawag na gearless, so wala na siyang gearbox. Instead, the generator is directly connected to the turbine's rotor. So, dahil nga wala na siyang gearbox, yung generator ng turbine is direkta na nakakonect dun sa rotor ng turbine. The design eliminates the need for a gearbox, reducing maintenance and potential points of failure. Direct drive systems are known for their simplicity, higher reliability, and improved efficiency in certain wind condition. Kumbaga kahit anong lakas ng hangin at lakas ng ikot ng blade o bilis ng ikot nun, hindi siya masyadong magbabibrate na maaaring kasira ng isang wind turbine. Gearless wind turbine typically use a permanent magnet generator or PMG. In these generators, permanent magnets are integrated into the rotor, creating a magnetic field. Ang issue lang dito is may kamahalan yung permanent magnet kasi nga gawa siya sa neodymium. Na yung neodymium na yun, matatagpuan na siya sa China. China lang din kasi yung gumagawa ng permanent magnet, so may kamahalan talaga yung magiging presyo niya. Kaya madalang pa rin yung mga gearless na wind turbine. Saka mahal din kasi masyado yung pagpapagawa sa kanya, saka kailangan ng malaking generator. Kaya malaking wind turbine din yung magagawa. Kung malaking wind turbine yung magagawa, malaking gastos rin yung kakailanganin. Iniiwasan din ng ibang kumpanya na gumastos ng malaki pag magpapagawa ng wind turbine. So, yun yung isa niya ang disadvantage. Pero okay naman siya sa pag-function. Kaso lang, may kamahalan talaga sa pagpapagawa. Kung i-compare natin yung gearless wind turbine sa wind turbine na may gearbox, parang ihahalin tulad kasi sa pagbili mo ng isang gamit o bagay. Kunwari, bumili ka ng sapatos. Yung sapatos na nabili mo is mamahalin. Mamahalin siya pero matagal siya masira. Sulit yung pera mo. Kumpara dun sa bumili ka ng sapatos na mumurahin pero mabilis naman masira. Kadalasan sa mga mumurahin kasi mabilis bumuka yung sa gilid nila. Minsan kahit anong stick mo ron, bubuka at bubuka pa rin. So sayang lang yung pera mo. Yung gearless, para saan mas okay siya kumpara dun sa wind turbine na may gearbox. Kaso lang, kaunti lang yung supply o hindi ganun kadali makuha o mabili yung permanent magnet. Kasi nga, dahil dun sa neodymium na sa China lang matatagpuan karamihan. So yun, may kamahalan yung permanent magnet. Kaya malaki rin yung gagastusin kapag ka nagpagawa ng gearless wind turbine. Sabi nga ng mga eksperto, yung gearless is hindi pa niya nare-reach yung pinaka maximum level niya o pwede pa siyang ma-improve. Hindi kagaya ng sa gearbox na na-reach niya na yung maximum level niya o hindi na siya may improve pa. Dahil nga, yun na lang siya, ganun na lang. Wala nang may improve sa pag-ooperate niya. Hindi kagaya ng sa gearless na maaari pang mas mahigitan niya palalo yung wind turbine na may gearbox. Isa din sa pinagkaiba ng nila is yung sa gearless, hindi siya masyadong nagbabibrate kasi nga wala na siyang gearbox. Yung gearbox kasi yung yung kung ano yung bilis ng ikot ng blade, ganun, mas mabilis siya dun ng parang 90 times kasi nga 90:1 yung yung ratio ng gearbox. So kapag sobrang bilis ng ikot ng blade, ibig sabihin sobrang bilis din ng ikot ng gearbox na nagkokos ng sobrang lakas ng pag-vibrate dun sa turbine. So maaring magkaroon ng mabilis na pagkasira yung wind turbine kapag kaganan. Hindi katulad nung sa gearless na kahit anong lakas o bilis ng ikot ng blade, hindi siya masyadong magbabibrate. Mas matagal siyang masira. Ganun. Kasi nga ala na siyang gearbox, nakakonect na agad yung generator niya dun sa rotor ng turbine. So ito, merong mga disadvantages yung gearless at gearbox. Yung advantages ng gearless: simplified design, fewer moving parts, potential higher reliability, and reduced maintenance. So dito sa simplified design, yun nga, wala na kasi siyang gearbox, di ba? Nakakonect na agad yung generator dun sa rotor, sa pure moving parts, kaya less vibration din siya kasi nga konti lang yung mga vital parts na nagpa-function sa loob ng nacelle. Potential higher reliability and reduced maintenance. Yun, madalang siyang masira, hindi siya ganun kabilis masira. Yung disadvantage naman niya is generally heavier and may require larger and more expensive magnets. Yun nga, mahal yung pagpapagawa sa kanya kasi may kamahalan yung permanent magnet. Sa gearbox naman, yung advantages niya is generally lighter. Parang kabaliktaran lang ng disadvantage ng gearless. Kasi nga, yung gearless, mabigat siya kasi malaki siya. Can adapt to a wider range of wind condition and may be cost effective for certain turbine size. Yung disadvantages naman ng gearboxes can be proved to wear, require maintenance, and may introduce additional points of failure. Yun nga, mas mabilis masira tong wind turbine na may gearbox kaysa dun sa wind turbine na gearless. Brake. The brake in a wind turbine serves as a safety mechanism and control device. It is designed to stop or slow down the rotation of the turbine's blades and rotor in various situations, such as during maintenance, emergencies, or when wind speeds are too high. This helps prevent damage to the turbine and ensures safe operation. The brake can be mechanical, hydraulic, or electronic, and its activation is typically controlled by the turbine's control system based on specific conditions or manual intervention. Yung brakes, siya yung paraan para i-shutdown yung wind turbine kapag may na-detect siya na ikakasira nung wind turbine. Kagaya na lang pag malakas nga yung hangin. Ibig sabihin, bibilis yung ikot ng blade. Magbabibrate ng sobrang lakas yung wind turbine. So, ihinto niya yan para hindi masira yung wind turbine. Pero hindi lang naman sa hangin. Ito nga, sabi nga rito is pagka may na-detect din siya na yung mga vital parts na may defects, hindi nagpa-function ng maayos, i-stop din siya para hindi masyadong lumala yung damage dun sa vital parts ng wind turbine. Yaw system. Yaw system consists yaw drive and yaw motor right behind the nacelle. Yung nasa baba siya ng nacelle. The yaw drive is a key component of the yaw system in a wind turbine. It consists of a motorized mechanism response for turning the entire nacelle and rotor horizontally to face the wind. The yaw drive is controlled by the turbine's control system, adjusting the orientation of the turbine in response changes in wind direction. This ensures that the rotor blades are always positioned optimally to capture the maximum amount of wind energy, enhancing the overall efficiency of the wind turbine. And yung yaw motor is an integral part of the yaw drive system. Siya yung naghaharap ng nasa rotor dun sa hangin para umikot yung blade. Kasi nga kailangan laging nakaharap yung blade dun sa hangin para umikot yung blade.
So, good day, I'm Jim Soto and I'm going to present the tower parts of the wind farming. By definition, wind velocity increases with higher altitude. This means that the taller the tower, the greater electricity it can produce. So, bakit nga ba na mas mataas na tower is mas maganda para sa ating turbine? So, dahil yan sa ang ating wind turbine ay nangangailangan ng more kinetic energy na nanggagaling sa hangin. So, ma-achieve lang natin yan kapag nasa higher altitude tayo. Kasi doon, frictionless doon yung hangin, or mas nakapag-travel doon ng mabuti yung hangin kasi nga wala dong mga obstacles like vegetation, trees, mga buildings, and yung mga bundok na yung mga mountains. So, by that, makapag-capture tayo doon ng mas maraming kinetic energy na kung saan maipoproduce natin into electricity. Next naman, majority of the wind turbines are supported by conical tubular steel towers with a height of usually 75 to 110 meter and 250 to 370 naman in feet depending on the blade's diameter. So bakit nga ba ang shape natin na kadalasan na ginagamit sa mga towers is conical tubular steel? So, conical tubular ang ginagamit natin na shape dyan kasi nga mas napapataas nito yung tower strength and mas nakapag-save tayo dyan ng material. Kasi nga, kung i-imagine natin, yung conical tubular na shape is gradually increasing siya from top to the base of the tower. So, kung bakit naman is steel, nakakatulong kasi ito para mas mapatibay pa yung base ng ating tower para i-support yung height ng ating tower and yung turbine kasi nga mabigat yung turbine, di ba? Next, sabi dyan, the tallest is still for completion in the mid of 2022, which is 280 meter to be installed at a test center in Western Jutland, Denmark. So this wind turbine in Western Jutland in Denmark can provide 80 gigawatt-hour per year, which is enough to power around 20,000 households in Europe, and saves more than 38,000 tons of carbon dioxide, which is equivalent of removing 25,000 passenger cars in the roadways annually. So next naman tayo dito sa may tower and blade diameter ratio. Pero bago tayo mag-move dyan sa table, i-define po na natin kung ano yung mga nakalagay dyan. Yung hub height and yung rotor diameter. So ano nga ba yung hub height? Tinatawag natin dyan. So yung hub height, ito yung distance from the ground to the middle of the turbine's motor. Or basically, ito lang yung height ng ating tower. And next naman yung rotor diameter. So yung rotor diameter, ito yung width of the circle swept by the rotating blades. Ngayon alam na natin yung dalawa na yan, mag-move na tayo dito sa table. Kung makita natin dito sa table, noong year 2000, meron tayong 50 meter average hub height with 48 meter average rotor diameter. Then noong year 2005, meron tayong 75 meter average hub height with 65 meter average rotor diameter. Then, noong 2010, meron tayong 80 meter average hub height with 84 meter average rotor diameter. Then, noong 2015, meron tayong 82 meter average hub height with 102 rotor diameter. Then, lastly, noong 2018, meron tayong 88 meter average hub height with 116 average rotor diameter. So, ano nga ba ibig sabihin yan? Makita natin malaki yung naging difference ng mga wind turbines noong year 2000 to year 2018. So dito na po mapasok yung improvement ng engineering designs. Kasi nga 'di ba, mas matataas na wind turbines, mas maganda kasi nga mas malakas din yung hangin. And mas malaki naman na rotor diameter, mas malaki naman yung mako-collect niyan na kinetic energy na nanggagaling sa hangin, na kung saan po pwede natin yung kinetic energy na yun yung ginagamit natin para makapag-generate ng more electricity. So, sunod naman natin yung kung saan nga ba ideal na itayo yung mga wind turbines. So, yung wind farms tend to be located in the windiest places possible to maximize the energy they can create. So, ipupwesto natin to kung saan malalakas yung hangin. Like, sa mga coastal areas, yung mga sa tabing dagat, at the top of the round hills, kasi nga mataas din yung altitude niyan, open plains, and gaps in the mountains. So, dyan nyo siya po pwedeng ilagay. To be worthwhile, there should be an average wind speed of around 25 km per hour. So, ayun yung pinaka-average niya. So, pag hindi mo na-reach yan, ibig sabihin, mababa yung chance na magtagumpay yung wind turbine mo kasi nga, nangangailangan siya ng 25 km per hour na wind speed or mas mataas pa para mas maganda. Next naman, pag-usapan natin yung mga advantages and disadvantages ng wind farming. Wind is free sa advantage niya, and wind farms need no fuel. So, hindi siya nangangailangan ng fuel, and yung wind, alam naman natin na libre lang naman yan. Next naman is produces no waste or greenhouse gases. So, hindi siya nakaka-apekto sa pagsira ng ating ozone layer. Next naman is the land beneath can usually still be used for farming. So, ayun nga, hindi yung space na nasa baba niya is po pwede pa rin magamit. Hindi siya wasted, kumbaga. Next naman is a good method of supplying energy to remote areas. Next, yung mga disadvantages niya naman. The wind is unpredictable. It changes its speed throughout the day and from season to season. So, ayun nga. Yung wind natin is unpredictable yan. Nagbabago yan from day to day, ganyan. Or from season to season. Kunyari, taglamig, ganyan. Di ba may hinihangin, mga ganyan. Next naman is suitable areas for wind farms are often near the coastal area where land is expensive. So, yung mga pagtatayuan ng ating wind farms is kadalasan mahal yung bentahan ng lupa dyan. And lastly, can affect television received on nearby places. So, nakaka-apekto yan sa may pag-receive ng mga channels natin, kaya minsan naglumalabo-labo yung TV natin, ganyan.
Largest wind farm. We have the Gansu Wind Farm that is from China. It has now 7,965 megawatts and hindi pa siya tapos. It means they are planning to build it with 20,000 megawatts. Second is the Alta Wind Energy Center from California, USA. It is currently has 1,548 megawatts and pinaplano siyang gawing 3,000 megawatts. Mopandal Wind Farm from India with 1,500 megawatts. Hornsea Project 1 from United Kingdom with 1,218 megawatts. Mark Bygden Wind Farm from Sweden. It has currently 1,120 and planning to build it with 4,000. We have Jaisalmer Wind Park from India with 1,064 megawatts.
Gansu Wind Farm. The Gansu Wind Farm Project or Jiakon Wind Power Base is a group of large wind farms under construction in western Gansu province in China. In 2008, construction began on a 750 kilovolts AC power line to carry electricity from wind farm, and construction of wind farm themselves started in August 2009. In November 2010, officials announced the completion of project first phase involving the installation of over 3,500 wind turbines with an installed capacity of approximately 5,160 megawatts, and it has an estimated cost of 120 billion Chinese yuan or $17.5 billion US dollar. The project is being built by more than 20 developers.
Burgos Wind Farm. The 150 megawatts Burgos Wind Farm is the largest wind power project in Southeast Asia, located in Burgos, Ilocos Norte, Philippines. So dito siya matatagpuan sa atin, yung pinakamalaki na wind farm sa Southeast Asia is nasa Pilipinas. The estimated cost for the construction of the wind farm was 450 million US dollar, which was completed in 2015. So 2015 pa siya natapos. Located within a 600 hectare site. The facility consists of 50 wind turbines, each which a capacity of 3 megawatts, generating electricity to the Luzon grid. So, kaya nga naging 150 megawatts is dahil sa 50 wind turbine na meron siyang 33 megawatts kada isa. Each wind turbine rests on a tubular steel tower, has a 75-meter hub height and a 90-meter rotor diameter.
So, next, i-discuss na natin yung grid operation ng wind farming. So, yung summary lang yan is yung meron tayo dyang wind, kung saan ito yung pinaka-essential para sa ating wind farming. Next, meron din tayo dyang rotor blade, kung saan ito yung nagre-receive ng kinetic energy na nanggagaling sa wind. Then, meron din tayo dyang gearbox para pabilisin naman yung pag-ikot ng hub. And meron din tayo dyang generator para i-convert yung kinetic energy into electricity. Then, dadaan yan sa power cables para umabot doon sa transformer. So, yung transformer naman, i-step up niya yung voltage. So, bakit nga ba i-step up yung voltage na nanggagaling sa generator? So, para ma-eliminate yung further losses ng voltage. Then, i-connect na yan sa mga substation, sa mga grid, and sa mga household. So, ngayon naman is sasagutin na natin yung mga kadalasang katanungan about dito sa ating topic na wind farming. So, ito yung tanong na, why do we need wind energy? So, ang wind energy kasi is one of the largest sources of clean and renewable energy, making it essential to the future carbon-free energy sector. And wind turbines do not release emissions that pollute our air or water, and they can be built with minimal impact to the environment or livelihoods of nearby residents. So, for example, yung mga farmers and ranchers, they can lease their land to the wind farms, and because the turbines take up minimal space, they can still continue to grow crops or raise livestock while earning a steady income.
In conclusion, exploring wind energy and how wind turbines work reminds us of Abraham Lincoln's wise words: "The wind is an untamed and unharnessed force." This means that the wind is a powerful and natural energy source waiting to be used. As we learn more about wind turbines and improve their design, we're finding ways to capture this force for clean and endless energy. Think of it like catching the wind's energy to power our homes and cities without harming the environment. The progress we're making in understanding and using wind energy brings us closer to a cleaner and more sustainable future. That's all. Thank you.